Let me introduce to you the Wheelchair Rocket League, Nintendo's new multi-million-dollar Switch 2 exclusive flop, called Drag X Race, starring Stephen Hawking and Professor Xavier, with Christopher Reeves coming in Season 1 DLC. All the Nintendo fans are like, we wanted NBA Jam, or how about NBA Street, and instead you get wheelchair basketball with mouse controls. Hit the like button, ladies and gents, and subscribe, baby. We're trying to get to 90,000. Don't be left in the lurch. Because Nintendo is literally like a succubus that's sucking your wallet dry harder than a hooker who's down on her luck. Oh yeah, we're talking biblical levels of greed. I mean, after doing some research on Drag X Race, it was a game from Nintendo that was supposed to represent some of the disabled community. Only for Nintendo to also have the least accessibility controller options for them. I wish that was a joke, it's not. That is hilarious, but what do you expect? This is Nintendo who will just throw out low effort schlop and call it a day. All they had to do was put Mario in a wheelchair and the game would have sold millions. It's also kind of symbolic after how damaged Mario is after Mario Kart World. Now, we all know ever since Iwata, the old CEO of Nintendo, died, it's been a downward spiral into pure corporate greed. After Iwata died and some time passed, Nintendo hired a guy called Bowser. Yeah, Bowser, go figure, and made him the North American CEO, who had the balls to say that consumers who are unable to afford the higher Switch 2 prices could easily just purchase the original Switch as an entry point into the Nintendo ecosystem. Only for them to increase the price of the original Switch 6 months later. These people do not care about you. Anyway, listen, Nintendo released a game called Drag X Drive, which is drab, dull, gimmicky, and pointless. But having said that, this will probably sell a decent amount. You wanna know why? Because of their fanboys. I don't see these fanboys as human. No, I don't see them as human. They do not pass enough reasoning to pass the qualifications. They have the IQ of like 85, which ironically puts them in a wheelchair. Oh, that was mean. I take that back. That was really messed up. But look, we gotta be honest. Imagine simping for Nintendo in this economy. Apparently, a plenty of shills in gaming. But I can hear them now. Can you really be that harsh on a $20 game made by 12 people? Yeah, I can be harsh. Because it doesn't look appealing and it doesn't look fun to play. Yes, this game costs $20. But the fact that some people think that $20 for a Nintendo game sounds extremely cheap says a lot about how expensive Nintendo games are overall. $20 is still too much. Judging by the price and the limited content at launch, we're talking sparse, barren, desolate, empty. It's really about $5. You can go on Steam right now, pay $20 and get a game with way more content. This game should really have been a tech demo for free on the Switch 2 instead of that dog shit welcome tour for $10. Nintendo, ladies and gents, has really dropped the ball on the design and the variation on Drag X Race, but let's get to it. Because, pun intended, it's been dragged by almost every single reviewer, including the Nintendo fanboy reviewers. I mean, some of these reviews are just actually brutal, and even for someone like me who has zero respect for Nintendo after their constant anti-consumer practices, even I think, whoa, this might be too much. But listen, Power Limited says Drag X Drive originated from a fun idea, but its execution falls flat. The online matches are rarely exciting, while the game frequently frustrates due to flawed controls. Look, I'll be honest, this looks like a game Nintendo would give like new employees over there to evaluate their skills to make sure they're not like DSP. The controls are like really hard to deal with, which is like a litmus test for those new employees. Now, the main fault, however, is the paradoxically that makes it little use of the mechanic, offering a limited variety of challenges beyond online competitions and battles with bots. Perhaps there will be updates in the future, but at the moment, Drag X Race would make more sense part of a collection of games than sold as a standalone game, albeit at a lower price. Yeah, the reviewers aren't really happy with this. Game Reactor UK says right now, Nintendo feels like they're in a bit of a Kinect era with the Nintendo Switch 2. Oh my, that is an insult if I've ever heard one. Trying out every everything with fancy new tools like mouse controls and game chat, but not really knowing how to actually make these features into compelling game mechanics. I think using Microsoft as an example is perfectly appropriate, since Nintendo is following Microsoft's entire playbook from last generation. Starting with the whole game keycard thing is literally what Microsoft tried to do with Xbox One, and that entire situation has Phil Spencer laying off thousands of people till this day. Microsoft wasn't lucky to have a legion of fanboys just with so much FOMO ready to buy their products like Nintendo. You know, Nintendo seems to have partnered with Don Matrick, Ubisoft, Phil Spencer, and EA when it comes to the greed. I mean, they've completely abandoned their fan base and pulled the maximum greed move with the Switch too. They are literally nickel and diming Nintendo fans for all they've got. You know, I don't feel bad for them. Fuck them. Now, Drag X Race is unfortunately an experiment that has nearly gone wild enough. You know, speaking about all these controls, it makes me remember how Wii Sports was completely peak. Just absolute perfection, and this game, Drag X Race, shows us exactly why it was peak. Anyway, you know, for a Nintendo game that is vastly forgettable in presentation, I mean, it lacks color, no creativity, no vibrant colors, no interesting characters, no memorable radiant maps. Drag X Race is complete dog shit, and you know, we haven't had a new Star Fox game in almost 20 years. Or what about Metroid Prime 4? I mean, that's what we're really waiting for at this point. It would have been really nice to get that instead of whatever the this is. Drag X Drive dragging down Nintendo's reputation. One shouldn't judge a book by its cover, or a video game by its trailer, but Drag X Drive has turned out to be exactly what it appeared to be. It's a tech demo masquerading as a game with so few options and features it feels more cheaply made than an indie title, rather than what is so far Nintendo's one and only attempt at an original IP for the Switch 2. I mean, really, this should have been made with Nintendo characters and environments. I mean, think about how much better that would be. At least people might actually pay attention and play it. It's almost like Nintendo was trying to make this game fail on purpose, because this game could have done with any kind of theme, literally any kind of vibrance would have made it better. I mean, it genuinely looks like a group of 15-year-olds made this as some kind of school project, and then got dumped as shovelware onto the eShop so it could fit Nintendo's quota for the month. You know, it's a shame, because with just a step up in presentation and charm, it could have easily been something good. It could have been a 70-something out of 100 instead of a 50 or a 49. But I need to get this off my chest. It takes a special kind of scumbag to raise the price of the original Switch, a 10-year-old hardware that was already underpowered at launch. I mean, really, over 150 million units already sold. To raise the price on that is just crazy work. This generation will be known as the generation of no exclusives and price increases. What a weird generation. Meanwhile, on the Steam Deck, anything you already had on Steam is tied to your account, so you don't have to buy it again like a Switch. Nintendo's like, we love you because you're rich, and Steam is like, we love you because you're poor. It's very clear which system is for the majority of gamers. Also, I must add, Valve won't brick your system on a whim, and you don't have to pay extra for online play or even cloud saves. Unironically, it's more powerful than the Switch 2 in some regards while having so much more RAM. And the Steam Deck's cheapest version is actually less than the Switch 2, and on that bombshell, let me know what you think in the comments. Manix out.